In the year 2047, 2 decades had transpired since the emergence of extraordinary phenomena on Earth. The Hell Gates, insidious portals that had manifested in every corner of the planet. These enigmatic rifts had ushered in a new era, one marked by a cataclysmic transformation that culminated in the annihilation of humanity. Yet, amidst the devastation, a solitary figure had emerged as the last bastion of hope, a warrior who hunted demons with unwavering determination. A demon, cognizant of this lone survivor's reputation, approached him with startling familiarity. The demon claimed to know the survivor as the fabled human who exclusively targeted high-ranking demons. The survivor, however, regarded this revelation with a measure of skepticism, considering it mere verbosity. He assured the demon that the truth would be unveiled in due course. Guiding the demon into a secluded chamber, the survivor unveiled a ghastly tableau, a multitude of demon heads meticulously arranged before him. With humanity's demise, the survivor had embarked on a relentless quest, one that entailed the beheading of precisely 666,666 high-class demons. The objective was to manipulate the very fabric of time, to revert to a period before the calamity had unfolded. The demons, gathered in awe, voiced their incredulity and sought to comprehend the survivor's motives. Could he genuinely alter the course of the future by traversing time? In response, the survivor revealed his heartfelt desire to reunite with his daughter. The demon regarded this as a trivial aspiration, provoking the survivor to rebuff his cynicism. He reminded the demon that his enduring 25 years in the desolate world were fueled by this singular purpose. Yet the demons shifted their focus to the elusive phases that had birthed the Hell Gates and devised the legendary quest, the very quest the survivor had undertaken. A sudden notification disrupted the conversation, declaring that the requirements for the legendary quest had been fulfilled for Regression. Unfazed, the survivor resolved to confront anyone who dared obstruct his path. With the completion of the quest, marked by 666,666 demon heads, a radiant light enveloped everything, propelling him back in time, several weeks before the impending cataclysm. Awakening from the temporal shift, the survivor hastened toward his daughter's room, anxiously seeking her presence. In a harrowing flashback, he recalled cradling her on the precipice of a building during the calamity, his incapacitated arm rendering him helpless. He prayed fervently, beseeching divine intervention to save his daughter. In a cruel twist of fate, a demon appeared beneath the building, ruthlessly ending her life before his eyes. Back in his daughter's room, he clasped her hand, overwhelmed by joy at her survival. As she stirred from slumber, he departed swiftly, unable to contain his tears, weeping silently outside her door. The survivor recognized the fleeting nature of this happiness. In a matter of days, the Hell Gates would reopen, irrevocably altering the world. Recounting the past 25 years spent in self-imposed isolation, he questioned his ability to endure the impending hellish reality while protecting his beloved daughter. However, he sternly admonished himself against such introspection, acknowledging that he must persevere, even if it meant sacrificing his life to safeguard her. A mysterious notification interrupted his contemplation, informing him of newfound magical abilities. He had gained not only magic power, but also spirit magic and possessed level 1 spirit eyes. He marveled at the resurgence of his power, accompanied by the apparition of a spirit, the ethereal form of Sua, his wife and his daughter's mother. Her spectral presence enveloped him, and he wondered whether these gifts were a consequence of the altered timeline or an inherent trait of a regressor. With a mere 3 days remaining until October 11th, the ominous date of the Hell Gates reopening, only a select few were privy to this impending calamity. The 8 prophets, chosen by the enigmatic 8 phases, and the 8 martial stars, heralded as humanity's saviors, were among those who understood the impending doom. Reflecting on the arduous memories of the past 25 years, the survivor contemplated the newfound possibilities that lay before him. He could now attain the accomplishments and rewards that had eluded him for so long, achievements comparable to those of the 8 martial stars and the 8 prophets. Stepping out into the world on October 8, 2022, a mere 3 days prior to the cataclysm, he descended into a hidden basement, the genesis of his new journey. Entering a familiar shop, he noticed a discrepancy. There was an unexpected presence. An elderly man sat before him, an incongruity in a world that should have been devoid of human life. The old man inquired about his intentions, prompting the survivor to express his desire for supplies. Abruptly, the old man underwent a nightmarish transformation, revealing his true identity as a demon. In a swift and brutal motion, he seized the survivor, forcing him against the wall. Intrigued by the human's presence, inquired about his purpose. Our protagonist calmly explained that he had come in preparation for the prophet's trial, having heard of its location. The demon expressed surprise at the knowledge that someone had been instructed to visit this place. Stranger still, the demon had information that the selection process was still ongoing from the higher echelons. Undeterred, our protagonist affirmed that he had arrived precisely for this reason: to stake a claim before the selection process concluded, determined to seize the coveted spots of the chosen ones. The demon, however, suddenly recalled our protagonist and burst into laughter, identifying him as the regressor who had vanquished a staggering 666,666 high-class demons. He found it astonishing that our protagonist had assumed they would remain oblivious to his actions, given that demons were privy to a wealth of knowledge, including his manipulation of the timeline. With a smug grin, the demon chastised our protagonist's audacity, implying that his regression had granted him a sense of invincibility. He cautioned our protagonist against meddling in the complex game orchestrated by the upper phases, emphasizing that such actions would only draw their ire. Determined to make a point, our protagonist commanded the demon to move his hand, and utilizing his newfound magical prowess, attempted to sever the demon's hand with a spectral sword. However, his body proved unprepared for the demanding feat, and he lacked the necessary arcane runes, limiting his capabilities. The demon, now in agony, let out a piercing scream. Our protagonist maintained his composure, asserting that the demon's knowledge was severely lacking. He reminded the demon that the phases themselves had sanctioned the events that led to his regression, a fact that rendered any consequences irrelevant. Incensed, the demon launched an assault, charging at our protagonist with fervor. However, the human effortlessly thwarted the attack, delivering a devastating blow to the demon's visage. Mocking the demon's seemingly ornamental head, our protagonist questioned if he truly comprehended the significance of being a regressor. He asserted that he had already fulfilled the demanding quest, having slain the required 666,666 high-class demons. This turn of events rattled the demon, a member of the Yaksha race who drew sustenance from the fear of other beings. He was confounded by the dread he felt in the presence of a mere human. Fearing a diminishing of his own essence, the demon inexplicably shrank in stature, much to our protagonist's satisfaction. Seizing the moment, our protagonist revealed the two primary reasons behind his arrival. First, he informed the demon that, per a rule established before the Hell Gates opening, the representative race of the Yaksha would be prohibited from harming any humans. Second, he disclosed that he sought to rendezvous with a Yaksha named Ju Ryu in pursuit of a particular bundle. The demon struggled to comprehend the sudden revelation. He asked how our protagonist knew his real name, to which the human responded with a cryptic reference to their great connection. Infuriated, the demon inquired if our protagonist considered him a servant. The exchange grew tense, with our protagonist delivering an ominous glare that left the demon quaking in fear. Rising to the occasion, the demon produced a sizable pouch. Our protagonist's attention, however, was drawn to a notification which unveiled a shop designed for the prophets. This shop offered a variety of tools such as swords and shields, though the prices were exorbitant. Realizing that he collected only one head per monster, our protagonist despaired at the impossibility of making a purchase. The demon, sensing the human's frustration, remarked that our protagonist lacked a reliable method for amassing demon heads. As a result, he would be unable to acquire anything substantial. Nevertheless, our protagonist's keen eye discerned an item of interest and demanded that the demon hand it over. Infuriated, the demon protested, questioning why he should gift it to our protagonist. The human pointed to a notification that indicated the item would be bestowed as a gift upon establishing friendliness with the Yaksha race. The demon balked, citing the grievous injuries he had sustained, including the insertion of swords into his arm and a slap across the face. Our protagonist, undaunted, withdrew the weapons and cryptically noted that he had now pulled the knife out for the demon. However, the demon, once again vexed, demon takes out money and tells him that it's 20 million won, and if he does well, he will give him 80 million more. Throwing the money, the demon scoffed at its value, given the imminent opening of the Hell Gates in just 3 days. Unfazed, our protagonist assured the demon that, in the coming days, those pieces of paper would become invaluable. He hinted at a pitch-black night 2 years hence, suggesting that the money would play a pivotal role in saving his life. The demon, utterly perplexed, struggled to grasp the concept, as paper money held little significance in his realm. Frustrated, the demon accused our protagonist of deception. In response, our protagonist delivered a powerful declaration. He explained that, although the demon might not grasp the value of these notes, he possessed the foresight to discern their worth. He maintained that in the human world, money held undeniable importance, even during the Hell Gate's looming chaos. The demon, agitated, questioned the authenticity of these claims. Our protagonist emphasized that he could offer no proof, but the choice to believe his words lay with the demon. He underscored the importance of making the correct decision, for in 2 years, the demon would regret not heeding his counsel. In the end, it was the demon's prerogative. Incensed and feeling belittled, the demon compared our protagonist to the Naga people, earning a sharp retort. Our protagonist admitted to having heard of them, further astonishing the demon. Infuriated, the demon demanded to know our protagonist's next course of action, cursing as he stooped to pick up the discarded money. Seizing the opportunity, our protagonist utilized the letter he had received as a gift from the demon. In a show of extraordinary power, he created a pathway leading to his destination, telling the demon that he intended to meet with the phases. With a mix of shock and fear, the demon watched as our protagonist departed. As they ventured deeper into the enigmatic portal, the demon chose to accompany our protagonist, much to the latter's curiosity. Inquisitive, our protagonist asked the demon about his motivations, questioning why he was shadowing his every move. The demon, however, responded with a hint of disdain, urging our protagonist to mind his own business. He explained that his presence was driven by a morbid fascination with the form of death our protagonist would ultimately encounter. Taking the opportunity to converse, the demon inquired about the source of our protagonist's knowledge regarding the prophet's test and the enigmatic rune language. He surmised that our protagonist's familiarity was derived from memories of his past life, and he speculated that our protagonist aimed to usurp the prophet's privilege at this very moment. The demon then raised a moral question, asking whether our protagonist felt any remorse for effectively stealing the prophet's rightful place. In response, our protagonist shared a story with the demon, recounting the tale of ghost whale Choikwasu, an unparalleled entity among the 8 martial stars. This fearsome figure had command over numerous undead monsters and appeared almost immortal. Yet despite his formidable abilities, Choikwasu was ultimately deemed a menace, a psychopath that needed to be eliminated. To harness the power of his undead minions, Choikwasu required an abundance of corpses, leading him to experiment on humans to produce high-quality corpses. Our protagonist divulged that he, too, had been subjected to these gruesome experiments, a revelation that rendered him devoid of any remorse for his actions. Undeterred, the demon offered a word of caution. He reminded our protagonist that despite his grandeur in his past life, he was now an ordinary human and should tread carefully. The demon suggested that our protagonist may not fully understand whose domain he had entered, prompting our protagonist to affirm that he knew all too well. He had entered the domain of the one who had tormented him for 18 long years. A voice, seemingly disapproving of their intrusion, suddenly rang out, declaring our protagonist an unwelcome visitor. A notification materialized, announcing their entry into the lair of the tamer of the 7 snakes. The voice then directed its inquiry to the demon, Jiuryu, asking why he had brought a human into this sacred space, as only the prophet was permitted entry. It sternly informed our protagonist that he did not bear the mantle of the prophet that had been selected. Quickly, the demon defended our protagonist, describing him as the regressor who had eliminated 666,666 high-class demons. The voice, however, responded with a sense of condescension, asserting that our protagonist had disrupted their grand scheme. It categorically denied our protagonist the title of prophet, deeming him unworthy. Our protagonist pushed back, suggesting that the voice personally evaluate his qualifications, especially when compared to the dubious choice of Choikwasu. Yet in the midst of this exchange, our protagonist was struck by a sudden memory, the haunting scene of his daughter's loss. The voice, seemingly amused by the recollection, burst into laughter, revealing that the regressor responsible for altering the timeline had been one of its loyal followers. Unperturbed, our protagonist took a decisive step forward, launching an attack to drive his point home. He severed a crimson wall, and Jiuryu, the demon, looked on in astonishment at the display of our protagonist's newfound power. Seizing the moment, our protagonist declared that he was not the voice's follower and demanded to know the source of his extraordinary abilities. The voice, known as the Tamer of the 7 Snakes, approached, intrigued by the display of power. Our protagonist pondered the origin of this newfound strength, realizing that even the high beings didn't possess omniscience. He postulated that perhaps this power was a reward for his unwavering devotion throughout his arduous journey in the dystopian world. The tamer of the seven snakes, acknowledging the change in our protagonist's circumstances, expressed a deep appreciation for his progress. He had previously considered the attainment of the title of the Observer of the Sun and Moon as a trivial achievement. Now, faced with our protagonist's unexpected transformation, he was both impressed and touched by the progress. Nonetheless, the tamer reiterated that he had already chosen a prophet, and his decisions were unassailable. Our protagonist, undaunted, challenged this notion, citing the requirements for regression. He was the sole survivor, as every other chosen prophet had perished. He assured the tamer that he wasn't here to beg for the position of the prophet, but to offer him a chance. Should the tamer refuse to select him, our protagonist pledged to bring victory to other high beings. The tamer would then witness the first death at his hand, the death of the prophet he had chosen. The demon, Jiryu, interjected, urging our protagonist to temper his tone. The tamer, angered by our protagonist's audacity, threatened to end his life on the spot, warning of the dire consequences he would face by becoming the common enemy of the high beings. Our protagonist, however, remained resolute, calmly explaining that he knew the high beings could not perceive him as an enemy, in accordance with the rules they had established. While he had initially been ignorant when the hell gates first opened, our protagonist had thrived and survived through sheer determination. Now he was confident in his ability to persist and succeed once more. The tamer, intrigued by our protagonist's resolve, appreciated his unwavering spirit. With a wave of his hand, the tamer summoned Choi Kwasu, the mad scientist who had terrorized our protagonist in his previous life. In a swift and definitive gesture, the tamer executed Choi Kwasu and selected our protagonist as his prophet. A brilliant blue magic circle materialized beneath our protagonist, and a notification informed him that he had become the prophet of the seven snakes, now vested with the prophet's privilege, which included access to the wrapping of the snake storage. In the narrative, the tamer led our protagonist to the fabled snake treasure house. Within its confines, the tamer informed the protagonist that they could unlock the copper door and take any item they desired from within. This privilege was granted to the prophets, who held the responsibility of guiding the people during the carnival that was about to commence. However, the protagonist, in a moment of unexpected audacity, remarked to the tamer that the trials they were experiencing were akin to a carnival for them. The tamer, with a wry smile, corrected the protagonist by stating that it wasn't a carnival for them, it was Jor. This enigmatic term left the protagonist intrigued and contemplating the potential opportunities presented by this new phase. As the duo ventured beyond the copper door, the protagonist, whose name was Namgun, noticed that Jiryu, their loyal companion, appeared physically shaken by what lay before them. The duo exchanged words in a seemingly casual manner, as if the extraordinary sights and experiences were a regular occurrence. However, Namgung's actions hinted at a deeper motivation. A while later, they emerged from the room, and Namgung summoned Jiryu to accompany him, signaling their departure. Curiosity getting the better of him, Jiryu asked Namgung about the events within the room. Namgung revealed that he had acquired a legendary item, Monarch Lyric's headpiece. This headpiece was a relic, belonging to the most arrogant king in history. It bestowed great strength upon the wearer, but it came at a cost, primarily tied to the wearer's past sins. Jiryu, puzzled by Namgung's choice, wondered aloud about the kind of equipment he would select. Namgung's choice, the headpiece, was entirely unsuitable for a living person, hinting at a deeper plan. Jiryu complimented Namgung's talents, prompting Namgung to inquire about Jiryu's own belongings. Jiryu revealed a surprising stash of 100,000 heads acquired from the Master of Snakes. This exchange, while generous, hinted at a significant price paid for these heads. Namgung clarified that the heads came from Jor. While Jor's gifts were valuable, they came with a price, even for seemingly insignificant items. Namgung's revelations left Jiryu in shock. Namgung explained that he hadn't paid Jor anything, but rather he had paid. It was a precautionary measure, as Jor was concerned that Namgung, a regressor, would become a target for other prophets. Thus, Jor had entrusted him with these heads as well as a quest, akin to the feat of regressing, involving the slaughter of 666,666 demons. This quest was known as a Red Wax Quest, a legendary grade challenge, with a hidden quest called Seven Serpents Incarnation, also now part of Namgung's arsenal. Perplexed, Jiryu struggled to comprehend the significance of Namgung's acquisitions. Namgung, sensing Jiryu's distraction, requested him to hand over his pouch, snapping him back to attention. Nangung instructed Ryu to obtain an unstable sword, at least of rare grade, using the heads he possessed. Ryu presented two rare swords, the Widow's Ice Sword and the Executioner's Beheading Blade. Nangung, uninterested in their backstories, chose the Widow's Ice Sword and opted to purchase a bag with the remaining heads. Ryu willingly provided the bag, and Nangung was surprised by the ease with which Ryu parted with it. Ryu explained that disposing of objects with deep histories was a headache for him, but he believed that their friendship was worth more than a mere bag. Nangung inquired about the time, and Ryu informed him that it was 3 o'clock. Satisfied with the time, Nangung commended Ryu for his work and assured him that he wouldn't be late. Ryu, still curious about Nangung's intentions, wondered what he was planning to do next. Nangung's purchase of the sword suggested a hidden agenda, but Ryu couldn't fathom his friend's true motives. Smiling cryptically, Nangung revealed that he needed to retrieve his daughter. Ryu, taken aback, struggled to process this unexpected revelation. Nangung bid him farewell, leaving Ryu in puzzlement. Over the next 2 days, in anticipation of the opening of the Hell Gate, Nangung intended to spend time with his daughter. They would go shopping together and engage in playful activities, seeking a moment of normalcy amidst the chaos that had consumed their lives. As the day approached, Nangung's daughter excitedly mentioned the significance of the day her father had spoken about. As she tied her shoes, Nangung asked her if she believed what he told her. She tells him yes, of course, because she is always on her side, and they move out. Then the scene shifted to a cemetery where people were strolling. Here, Nangung encountered his friend Manhwa. After exchanging pleasantries, Nangung inquired about Soman, his daughter, and learned that she was sleeping in the car due to the long journey from Seoul. Manhwa expressed regret for not having visited them, but Nangung revealed that he had let Soman sleep deliberately, as the day ahead would be anything but pleasant to witness. Manhwa, assuming Nangung was referring to his own appearance, tried to lighten the mood by making a joke. However, the sudden change in the sky's color and the panic among the people abruptly ended their banter. Manhwa urged Nangung to seek safety, but he was horrified. Nangung, with an air of grim determination, announced his intent to eliminate each and every one of them. In a sudden and terrifying turn of events, hordes of goblins emerged from mysterious portals, throwing the once calm scene into chaos. Panic gripped the crowd as people fled for their lives, desperately seeking refuge from the menacing goblin invasion. Amidst this turmoil, Myung turned to Nangung, his voice laced with urgency, and advised that they needed to flee immediately. Nangung, however, cast a resolute glance back at Myung, and with a steely determination he uttered words that would echo in Nam's memory. "Let's survive together this time." Without further ado, Nangung executed a remarkable feat, dispatching the goblins in a single formidable strike. Myung was left in awe, his surprise evident as he questioned Nangung about his intentions. Nangung cryptically urged Myung to carry on, and in response, Myung shifted into a soldier's mode, resolutely sprinting away while reassuring Nangung that he would return. Meanwhile, Nangung continued to engage the marauding goblins, rescuing terrified individuals caught in the crossfire. As he fought valiantly, he couldn't help but cast his eyes skyward, where the portals resembled monstrous, watchful eyes, ominously spewing forth an unending horde of goblins. The fleeing masses were bewildered, struggling to comprehend the cataclysmic event unfolding before them. Nangdung's mind drifted back to a conversation he had with the tamer when receiving the heads. The tamer had offered a chilling piece of advice, suggesting that he was the arbiter of the lives of the deceased. To save someone in the moment, he would have to weigh the lives of others. The tamer, with a sinister smile, had encouraged Nanbang to be selfish, a path that the protege of the Seven Serpents was destined to walk. The tamer emphasized that, no matter his actions, Namgung would forever be labeled a hypocrite. Back in the present, Nangung recognized the necessity for strength, even if it meant accepting the label of a hypocrite in the future. With determination, he unsheathed his sword and spoke to it as though it possessed ascension awareness. He invoked the power within himself, power that surpassed all others in this realm. A crimson aura enveloped him as he called upon the spirits of their homeland. At that moment, souls began to rise from the cemetery, converging into a massive red mana circle around Namgung. A notification appeared, indicating that Level 2 soul detection had been activated. Friendly spirits resonated with him, and Level 2 soul eyes was triggered, allowing the spirits of the memorial to rise within him. He had gained the ability to summon souls at Level 2, and the number of available souls exceeded his initial capability. Nangung summoned 3 souls, each donning a distinctive red and black mask. The narrative then shifted to Myung, who found himself in the company of Somin. He marveled at the relentless tide of monsters and wondered how Namgung was managing the ongoing chaos. His daughter, Somin, slept peacefully amidst the chaos, undisturbed. As more monsters poured from the portals, one of them threatened to attack Myung and Somin. However, at the 11th hour, the souls summoned by Namgung intervened, saving them from impending danger. Myung, astounded by the appearance of these enigmatic figures, questioned Namgung about their identity and the unfolding events. Namgung promised to explain everything, but first handed Myung the sword. He emphasized the urgency of the situation, explaining that numerous goblins still threaten the lives of the innocent. Myung, wrestling with his own inner conflict, recalled a promise to his master not to wield the sword again. Nonetheless, the gravity of the situation compelled him to make a difficult decision. With a resolute cry, Myung took up the sword and, invoking the named Hell's Punisher, leaped into action. His blank expression belied the courage and determination he displayed as he engaged the encroaching goblins. Amid the chaos, a young boy lay on the road, separated from his mother. A bystander tried to intervene, but another person blocked her path. Just as a goblin prepared to strike, Myung sprang into action, defending the helpless and sending the child back to his mother. He continued to battle the goblins with unwavering resolve, a beacon of hope in a sea of despair. Namgung recognized that his powers could not be openly revealed. He entrusted the role of leading the people to Myung, who had previously been the leader of the armed guardians clan, known as Choi Myunghun of the Tai San Sword. Namgung would guide him from the shadows, offering support and direction. Myung valiantly took on the goblins one by one, each strike a testament to his unwavering commitment to protecting the innocent. As Myung finally found a moment's respite, a sense of foreboding washed over him. He was startled to witness a looming figure on the horizon. Namgung, too, sensed that the time had come. He readied himself for what lay ahead, a confrontation with the formidable goblin warrior. Shocked and outnumbered, he valiantly attempts to block the goblin's ferocious assault, wielding his swords with unwavering determination. Yet the overwhelming force of the attack sends Myung hurtling into a nearby wall. Astonishingly, the goblin warrior ceases its aggression and nonchalantly departs, leaving Myung dazed and bruised. Enter Namgung, a seasoned warrior who comes to Myung's aid. Namgung provides solace, confirming that Myung's bones remain unbroken and his injuries, though severe, are not life-threatening. Myung, his curiosity piqued, questions the nature of the monstrous adversary and why it abruptly withdrew from the confrontation. Namgung's response unveils a chilling truth. The goblin warrior's sinister destination is the sacred shrine, constructed to appease the malevolent goblin lord. The goblins' nefarious scheme involves establishing the memorial tower as their base, a perilous prospect that would lead to an alarming rise in their numbers. Myung, his disbelief palpable, probes Namgung for the source of this cryptic knowledge. Intriguingly, Namgung reveals his unconventional source of wisdom. He is living his second life. Impressed by the seasoned warrior's resilience, Myung acknowledges that this undertaking may seem tedious given his prior experience. Eager to expedite their mission, Myung urges a swift resolution. Nevertheless, Namgung counsels patience, emphasizing that vanquishing the goblin warrior is merely a prelude. To foil the goblin's grand design, they must confront the true puppet master, the goblin lord. Concealing themselves behind a protective barricade, Myung and Namgung finally lay eyes on the menacing goblin warrior. Myung, his thoughts drawn to Somin's safety, inquires if she remains unharmed. Namgung reassures Myung, revealing that he has placed her into a deep slumber and intends to summon spirit soldiers to safeguard her well-being. With a sense of foreboding, Namgung marshals the spectral army, offering Myung cryptic glimpses of the mysteries yet to unfold. With a daring maneuver, Namgung hurls a dagger at the goblin warrior, piercing its eye and shattering its equilibrium. Seizing the opportunity, Namgung wields needles charged with a crimson aura, plunging them deep into the goblin's hand. At his command, Myung catapults through the air, blade in hand, and attempts to decapitate the towering foe. To their astonishment, the blade's edge fails to penetrate the goblin's reinforced neck. Myung, confounded by this supernatural fortitude, seeks an explanation for the deadly poison dart's origin. Namgung discloses their provenance, the underground marketplace of Olji Street. With a growing sense of urgency, Namgung impresses upon Myung the need for a swift dispatch of the goblin warrior to prevent further interference by its kin. As the goblin charges, sword swinging menacingly, Myung and Namgung adroitly evade its strikes. In response, Namgung hurls more poison darts, which find their mark in the goblin's chest, inducing an excruciating paralysis. Seizing the opportune moment, Myung brings his blade down in a single stroke, vanquishing the colossal adversary. Myung, drained and aching from the strenuous battle, reflects on the incredible resilience of the goblin's bone structure. Nangam, however, warns Myung against lowering his guard, emphasizing the impending confrontation with the Goblin Lord. As the moment arrives, a disquieting revelation surfaces. The Goblin Lord is conspicuously absent. Just as the Goblin Lord prepares to pounce upon Myung from behind, Nangung's frantic cry resonates through the tumultuous battlefield. In the nick of time, a spirit soldier materializes to shield Myung before vanishing into nothingness. Nangung surmises the ephemeral nature of the spirit soldiers is due to their limited growth potential. An urgent notification informs them that only 2 summoned spirit soldiers remain. Undaunted, Myung charges towards the menacing goblin, seeking to deliver a fatal blow. Yet the cunning goblin deploys a protective shield to fend off Myung's assault and forcefully propels him into a solid wall. Bewildered by this supernatural turn of events, Myung turns to Nangung for guidance, his voice tinged with desperation. Nangung implores Myung to persist, to overcome the seemingly insurmountable goblins. Drawing a curious sword, Nangung instructs Myung to wield it and place his trust in its enigmatic power. Baffled, Myung seeks clarification, prompting Nangung to disclose the sword's cursed nature. It harbors a sentient soul bound to it. Moreover, Nangung underscores the criticality of not relinquishing the weapon under any circumstances. A notification interjects, indicating that the Eye of the Soul has advanced to level 2. Embracing the mysterious sword, Myung becomes cloaked in a crimson aura, astonishing the goblins with his newfound powers. As the goblins charge with unrelenting force, Nangung unveils a formidable artifact, the Demon Hunter's Silver Blade, a first-ranked magical implement. With uncanny precision, he hurls it at the goblins, triggering a cataclysmic explosion that decimates their ranks. With time slipping away, Nangung urges Myung to press on. The crimson aura now envelops Myung, a sign of a successful communion with the executioner's soul. With unparalleled agility, Myung soars into the sky, propelled by the crimson aura, and delivers a devastating strike that fells the Goblin Lord with a single resounding blow. A notification emerges, declaring the Goblin Lord's demise. The consequences of this climactic victory are profound. A reward notification promises perpetuities to all participants within a 150-meter radius, with special recognition for Myung as the pivotal influencer. Treasure chests materialize before him, hinting at untold riches. Myung, bewildered by this sudden windfall, turns to Nangung for insight. Nangung elucidates that the loot is Myung's alone to claim, delineating the bounteous rewards, including the Goblin Lord's ornament, the Goblin Lord's favorite, and the bracelet of the Goblin Lord. Myung contemplates sharing some of the riches with Nangung, but the seasoned warrior declines the offer. Among the riches, a particular item captures Nangung's attention, the Goblin Lord's heart. This rare artifact resonates with the Goblin Lord's magic, bestowing the ability to wield magic upon consumption. Magic users would also experience a substantial boost in their mana reserves. Myung recognizes the value of this item, but humbly acknowledging their lack of magical prowess, defers to Nanbang's counsel. The seasoned warrior envisions selling the artifact for a princely sum when the second Hell Gate opens. However, an unexpected complication arises when Nangung attempts to stow the heart in his pocket. A notification prompts him to explore potential recipients, revealing a novel facet of this fantastical realm. Despite their shared lack of magical talent, a suitable candidate is pinpointed, and the heart, encased in a cerulean aura, hurtles through the air to Nangung's slumbering daughter, Soman. A notification elucidates the incredible significance of this transfer. Soman's magical potential is classified as legend grade, a revelation that leaves Nangung profoundly astonished. Nangung is left reeling, his disbelief palpable as he comes to terms with the revelation of his daughter Soman's remarkable magical disposition. The idea of such an extraordinary gift for magic leaves him astounded, but it is a bittersweet recognition. He acknowledges that Soman's unparalleled magical potential, classified as legendary grade, comes with an immense burden. The weight of her destiny is not lost on Nangung, for he knows that great power inevitably demands great sacrifices. Myung, observing Nangung's internal struggle, offers a choice. He suggests that Nangung has the option to withhold awakening Soman's magic, a path that would shield her from the brutal realities of battling against formidable monsters. Myung further implores that even amidst a world sliding into chaos and darkness, The children must preserve their innocence and happiness, surpassing the trials of the adults who fight to protect them. Just as they engage in this solemn deliberation, Salmon awakens, her eyes falling upon both Nangang and Myeon. Myeon, with a warm smile, notes her growth since their last encounter and playfully suggests a ride on an airplane. However, Salmon, keen to assert her maturity, dismisses the notion, instead focusing on the grim situation unfolding on Earth. She is horrified by the destruction that surrounds her, and her shock is evident. She demands an explanation from her father, wondering why he didn't fulfill his promise that they would face these challenges together. Nangang, filled with remorse, offers a heartfelt apology to his daughter. In the midst of this emotionally charged moment, a distressed child approaches Salmon, seeking her help and solace. The young boy reveals that his mother fell victim to the monstrous terrors that now haunt their world. Tears stream down his face as Salmon tenderly embraces him, seeking to offer whatever comfort she can. Myeon, watching Salmon's remarkable compassion, remarks on her unexpected bravery for someone her age. Namdong, however, attributes her courage to her mother rather than himself, revealing a deep sense of inadequacy and recounting a time when fear overcame him. Myeon interjects, asserting that a father's protective instincts often dictate such actions. Salmon persists, pleading with her father to let the young boy accompany them. However, Namdong, rationalizing that the shelters during the impending Great War will provide greater safety, declines her request. Salmon challenges his decision, reminding him that the young boy is alone in this perilous world. Nangang remains resolute, stating that the boy will be better off in a shelter. Salmon recalls a painful past when her mother departed, accusing her father of not standing by her side during that trying time. Nangang is taken aback by this revelation, visibly shocked by his daughter's perception of his actions. Suddenly, a mysterious figure named Jor enters through a portal, catching Nangang and the others by surprise. Jor comments on Nangang's peculiar position, describing him as a guy who handles death while walking on the path of life. Despite his seemingly jovial demeanor, Jor notes that the situation has taken a perplexing turn, expressing his surprise at their successful takedown of the Goblin Lord. He explains that the citadel construction should have been completed by midnight, with goblins swarming the city as part of a preconceived plan. However, something has gone terribly awry, leaving Nangang and his allies bewildered. Nangang, struggling to grasp the implications of Jor's words, questions the logic behind the authorities' objections to his utilization of patriotic souls and the powers of ancient gods and heroes. Jor reveals that the authorities perceive this as an imbalance, insisting that the events were meant to unfold during the carnival. He further elaborates on their stance, emphasizing the critical importance of maintaining a sense of equilibrium and adherence to the rules. Nangbang's frustration boils over, and he vehemently asserts his authority and status in this unique realm. He refuses to be lectured on rules by someone of Jor's stature. Jor, evidently anticipating this response, offers a compromise, a life for a life. Since Nangang has already absorbed several spirits, Jor asserts that an equivalent life must be forfeited to restore balance. He points ominously towards the young boy, suggesting that his life should be the price to pay. The proposition sparks a heated debate, with Jor attempting to rationalize the sacrifice. Salmon, however, cannot abide by the callousness of such a proposition. In an act of defiance, she delivers a powerful punch to Jor's face, challenging his assertion that a life should be taken. Her fiery words degrade Jor's inhumane suggestion and brand him a reptile. In a swift and brutal retaliation, Jor unleashes a devastating attack, sending Salmon hurtling into a wall. In her defense, both Nangang and Myeong step forward, but they too become ensnared in Jor's clutches. With a malevolent grin, Jor underscores his dominance and, in a chilling ultimatum, asks Nangang to make an unthinkable choice, to decide whose life should be forfeit, the young boy's, Salmon's, or Myeong's. Nangang, his heart heavy with the impossible decision he is forced to make, implores Jor to halt this madness. In the midst of this harrowing confrontation, a miraculous event transpires. The heart of the Goblin Lord, once a focal point of their conflict, plummets to the ground and is inexplicably absorbed by Salmon. Jor watches in fascination as Salmon's magical transformation unfolds before his eyes. A notification appears, indicating that a fragile soul is comforting Salmon. The spirits of her mother manifest behind her, contributing to her awakening. Her magical traits undergo a profound transformation, with her left eye taking on a striking crimson hue. Her magic is revealed to be perception magic, a revelation that shocks Nangang to his core. In an astonishing display of her newfound power, Salmon conjures a colossal sphere of mana, and hurls it directly at Jor. Jor effortlessly absorbs the immense mana unleashed in her attack, demonstrating a formidable control over the mystical arts. He marvels at Soman's utilization of mythical-level magic and acknowledges that he has encountered someone even more intriguing than himself. However, Soman's magical prowess takes its toll, and she collapses, overwhelmed by the staggering power she has harnessed. Jor discerns that perception magic exacts a substantial drain on one's mana reserves, especially for a young child like Soman, whose awakened abilities are still in their infancy. Namgun, watching in growing concern, vehemently protests as Jor attempts to use his magic on Soman. He warns Jor not to touch his daughter, pledging severe consequences if any harm befalls her. Jor reassures Namgun that he has no intentions of harming Soman and insists that he is merely trying to help. As he employs his magic to assist her, Jor cryptically hints that Soman has attracted the interest of the higher beings. This attention from the higher phases might ultimately lead to the resolution of their ongoing dispute. Namgun cradles his unconscious daughter, appreciative of the possible safeguard that has been cast over their predicament. Jor imparts a final piece of advice, instructing Namgun to ensure Soman's protection from the high beings who covet her. Namgun, in a bold move, suggests that Jor should reciprocate the protection. Jor responds by tossing a red sphere toward Namgun, a valuable item meant to be obtained only after the Goblin Castle's completion. He reveals that this item was originally intended as a reward for Namgun at the next carnival, but Jor seized it from the higher beings to deliver it to him personally. Jor emphasizes his instrumental role as Nanben's contracted god and issues a warning. As he prepares to depart, Jor assures Namgun that he will continue to watch over him, emphasizing that his survival is crucial for the fulfillment of their shared goals. Soman eventually awakens, finding herself in a car. Mian informs her that she had succumbed to mana overload and momentarily lost consciousness. Soman, filled with curiosity, inquires about the fate of the boy they rescued. Mian reassures her, revealing that the boy's father, Hosung, has been safely taken to the Daejeon shelter. Soman, agitated by this decision, begins to pick at her father's hair while questioning their course of action. Namgun explains the rationale behind their choice, stating that the boy would be more secure in the shelter due to the comprehensive defense measures implemented by Jin Sugyuk. Jin Sugyuk, known to Namgun from his previous life, is regarded as a trustworthy individual, and thus they need not worry about Hosung's safety. Intrigued, Soman inquires about their destination. Namgun reveals that they are headed to Seoul. He explains that a new dungeon has opened following the closure of the first Hell Door, and it is imperative that they obtain the dungeon's reward to avert an even more catastrophic disaster. Mian, seeking clarification, asks Namgun if he is considered a prophet, a person chosen by higher beings. Namgun confirms this and emphasizes the need for them to grow stronger as they continue their journey through the nighttime roads. While en route, they receive disconcerting news via the car radio about a traffic blockade on the Paju Expressway. Mian contemplates their alternate route when an unexpected impact strikes the car's front mirror, forcing them to halt. Namgun, suspecting the presence of leftover goblins, steps out of the car, and the impending danger becomes evident as a goblin prepares to attack him from behind. Before it can strike, an unknown archer takes down the goblin with a well-aimed arrow. The group discovers a young boy with a bow and arrows, and Namgun cautiously approaches him, urging him to lower his weapon before initiating a conversation. The boy, Jun Gyeongin, admits to being the archer who neutralized the goblins, impressing Mian with his skill in targeting vital points at midnight. Namgun thinks an ordinary citizen who killed 5 monsters using just one bow and someone as talented as this boy. Namgun thinks he might have encountered him in his previous life, and asks the four about his name. The boy's name is Jun Dainongin. Myung asked John what is he doing here as everyone was told to stay at home by broadcast. Jun tells them he need to go to Seoul as his father is in the hospital there and he can't get in contact with them at all. Namyeon now understand the reason why he didn't meet this kid in his previous life as a talented magician like his daughter Soman can't even survive. Stoke tells the boy to go home as he won't be able to journey using that bike, he will die definitely. Jun tells them to please let him ride with them till Seoul, and he makes sure to pay them back as well. Namgun finds it's interesting now, as the boy Jian gives them a crystal that he got by killing the goblins. Myung takes the stone from Kid's hand, but Namgun thinks something wrong as this stone should not be appearing now. The stone is a rune that bolsters one's stats, a prized item in a carnival where runes are rare. Jun inquires about the stone's rarity, leading Namgun to question its origins. Jun discloses that he obtained the stone from the goblins. There are 2 types of strength that a Kimmin gains in a carnival, First one is nature, and the second one is stats. Nature are special talents that are expressed from birth, and on the other hand, stats are a power that anyone can acquire through raising them. These runes are unique items that enhance these stats. Naturally, runes are highly sought after, but the odds of obtaining one from a monster are dismal, and thinks there is a chance that they could drop from a goblin. John asked Nangung, "Is this stone is rare?" Then suddenly Nangung realized which maybe this wasn't by luck, and he asked John from where did he learn archery. John tells him that his father is a former national representative that taught him, although he is currently bedridden due to an accident. John tells his father's name is Tiho. Nangung thinks of course he is the son of the athlete John Tiho, as in the previous life Tiho was a rune master and possessing an exceeding rare nature, shared only with Annihilates. Then clans worldwide vied to recruit him, but Teo had been in coma for 7 years following an accident. And as everyone clamored to awaken him, Saintest Era, one of the 8 martial stars, spent a lot of money to use an elixir. However, despite her title, she did sinister deeds behind the scenes, like killing Taho for refusing a clan's offer. But this time things will be different cause of Nangung. Myung asked Nangung should they head to the hospital. Nangung tells him before that they need to stop somewhere first. John gets mad and tells Namgung he agreed to take him to his father, as anything could happen to him, and his daughter is with him as well. Nangung tells him going they will not change a thing, as given the goblin situation, police, firefighters, and even the military have been deployed across Korea in such times. They will prioritize stabilizing medical facilities, which means that the hospital would be a safer place than roads like this, and it's better for them to gather heads as going there won't make a difference. John asked Nangung what does he means by that. He tells him they can revive their father using an elixir. John tells them the elixir cost around 400,000 heads, and there is nowhere else to amass to get that amount quickly. Mian tells him that he is a lucky one as right now they are on their way to a dungeon. Someone tells John that it's her dad's second life, so he knows what best for them. John still doesn't believe them and asks them even if they gather all the heads where will they but the elixir from. Namgung tells him he will find out soon. While still on the road, the group stumbles upon a public announcement that emanates from a giant beam of mana that shoots down from the sky, showering the landscape in a vivid display. The manifestation of a demon at the epicenter of the event sends shockwaves through the gathered crowd. The demon, wielding powerful magic, addresses the terrified onlookers, conveying an imperative message. The demon proclaims that the phases will extend a unique opportunity to the audience of the carnival, a chance for the individuals to awaken to their true potential. The sudden appearance of this daunting figure sends the masses into a frenzy, prompting chaotic, panicked attempts to flee the scene. The demon employs his magic to obliterate cars and individuals on his side of the highway, exacerbating the chaos, and tells the people that all the necessary information will automatically implanted in their minds, so there is no need for detailed information, but just for formality he will make an announcement. Just as he was about to tell people the announcement, a car honks at him, which is none other than Nangung. The demon is shocked to see Nangung here. Myung wonders if this is the demon Nangung had previously mentioned. The demon, seemingly perturbed by Myung's comment comparing him to a mere goblin, is approached by Ji-Ryu. Ji-Ryu requests the demon to open up and reveal the contents of his bundle and heart pouch. The demon Ji-Ryu responds that he and Nangung have yet to formalize a contract, prompting an exchange between the two regarding the request for an elixir. The group, situated within their car, maintains a keen eye on the unfolding events. In a candid exchange, Ji-Ryu requests that Nangung spare his dignity, considering the public nature of the confrontation. Here at the car, John is wondering what is Nangung talking about with the demon. Myung tells him not to overthink as this is Nangung's second life. He knows what he is doing. After that, Nangung comes back. Someone asks him what took him so long. Nangung tells her he spent his allowance to buy some survival items, as they need to survive this dungeon. Jian, the group's young and contemplative member, became the unwitting conduit for a surge of information about a mysterious carnival. His mind was flooded with intricate details, explanations, and cryptic messages. It was a bewildering experience, and he found himself utterly perplexed, grappling with a deluge of information he couldn't comprehend. Nangung, their seasoned and level-headed companion, stood by John's side, sharing in his astonishment and befuddlement. Both of them were equally puzzled, for the source of this inexplicable information flow was none other than a demon named Ji-Ryu, who, it appeared, had the eerie ability to implant knowledge about the enigmatic carnival directly into people's minds. Jian, his thoughts racing, couldn't help but ponder the audacious question that had seized his mind. How was it possible to transmit complex and detailed information into the minds of individuals in the tangible physical realm? This, he realized, was no mere illusion or trick, but a profound manipulation of reality itself. It dawned on him that such a capability could only signify one thing: the enigmatic nature of Nangung's second life. Myung, the pragmatic and rational member of their group, took a moment to ponder their current predicament. They had arrived at their destination in a vehicle, and the pressing question before them was whether to leave it behind or bring it along. Nangung, renowned for his quick thinking, unceremoniously shed his jacket, and with an air of determination proposed an audacious alternative. He urged Myung not to abandon the vehicle but instead to take it with them, embarking on a daring journey directly into the heart of the foreboding dungeon that lay ahead. Their mission: to clear the path of any menacing creatures that might dare to obstruct their way. Myung, caught off guard by the audacity of this proposition, stood there, mouth agape, his disbelief etched across his face. With his characteristic calm and unwavering resolve, Nangun explained their plan. He would proceed to Sinshin, where the dungeon's exit was located, and they would regroup there once they had successfully navigated the treacherous labyrinth. This practical strategy was met with Myung's curiosity and the pressing question of why the younger members, like John, were tasked with dungeon combat, while the seasoned Nandang seemed exempt. Nandang's response unveiled the grander scope of their mission. The true battleground, he explained, was not within the confines of the dungeon, but in Sinshin, where a momentous event known as the Time of Dusk was destined to unfold. Armed with newfound knowledge, they understood that the Hell Gate served as a conduit for a predetermined number of menacing creatures. Even if the gate closed prematurely, an ominous event known as the Time of Dusk would see the remaining monsters surge forth simultaneously, amplifying the impending chaos. Myung, who foresaw the futility of early gate closures, voiced his concerns, arguing that the damage incurred would ultimately remain the same. Nangung, ever the strategist, offered a lucid response. Myung's mission was to protect the people of Sinshin, where a dire forecast of countless casualties loomed. In addition to this noble responsibility, the mission held another allure: the prospect of accumulating heads and acquiring elixirs. This strategic move would, in turn, fortify their position against the formidable rune master, John Taeho. Myung, emboldened and enthusiastic, pledged to execute his mission with utmost dedication. With their plan in motion, the group pressed forward, venturing deeper into the enigmatic depths of the dungeon. Inside the cavernous passages, John encountered a revelation that left him astounded. Soman, their audacious and enigmatic member, possessed an extraordinary ability to wield magic with grace and precision. This discovery marked a profound departure from the familiar reality he had known, casting a bewildering aura over their unfolding adventure. Unable to contain his intrigue, John sought to fathom the source of Soman's remarkable calm in the face of the daunting reality that now surrounded them. How could she navigate the presence of zombies, those harbingers of doom, with such serene composure? Soman's response was both lighthearted and illuminating, a result of exposure to zombie-themed movies and video games. These creatures, she explained, no longer held the terror they once did for younger generations. John, humbled by this insight, confessed that he wasn't particularly inclined toward gaming. Soman, with a nonchalant confidence, revealed her aptitude for such games, implying that the dungeon presented a manageable challenge for her. Her casual self-assurance was met with Nambang's cautionary reminder not to overexert herself. She had once suffered an overload, and the memory of that experience loomed as a cautionary tale. As their exploration continued, a menacing horde of zombies emerged, casting an ominous shadow across the group's path. John, with steely precision and unwavering focus, exhibited an uncanny knack for headshotting the advancing undead. Nangung, marveling at John's skill, tentatively inquired if he had once harbored aspirations of becoming a professional athlete like his father. John, always a paragon of modesty, swiftly dispelled the notion. He had only recently embarked on archery practice. His newfound skill had crystallized during an encounter with a goblin, a moment that had imbued him with a profound sense of accomplishment. Nangung couldn't help but ponder the implications of John's transformation. Given his lineage as the son of a rune master, Nangung had anticipated that John's talents would be closely linked to runes. With curiosity piqued, he asked John about any additional changes he might have observed. In response, John revealed that something profound was indeed unfolding within him. He couldn't yet articulate the full extent of these changes, but he pledged to confide in Nangung when he had a more precise understanding of his evolving abilities. Amid the maelstrom of discovery and danger, Soman's sharp eye caught sight of a tantalizing treasure chest. Her excitement bubbled over as she made a spontaneous decision to investigate the chest, her determination unwavering. However, the unfolding events would take a shocking turn. Nangun, recognizing the danger and acting with utmost urgency, shouted for Soman to halt, but she remained undeterred. Deaf to his warnings, she pressed forward, her determination overriding any misgivings. Nangun, informed by his memory of their past lives, knew that a trap lay hidden within the dungeon's recesses. In a swift, calculated move, he ordered John to shoot an arrow at the chest, hoping to neutralize any potential hazards. Jian, rising to the occasion with speed and precision, unleashed his arrow. The projectile soared over Soman, striking the chest with incredible force. The impact yielded an enormous explosion, filling the chamber with smoke and chaos. As the lingering smoke cleared, the group anxiously sought confirmation of Soman's fate. What they beheld was a reflection of the young woman, her visage emerging unscathed from the smoke. Her hair was ruffled, but she stood among them, safe and unharmed. Nangun, overwhelmed with relief, approached Soman, his eyes filled with gratitude. It was clear that John's quick thinking had saved her from a potentially catastrophic encounter. This revelation was nothing short of a chilling reminder of the perils that lurked in their path. John, still reeling from the close call, couldn't help but voice his shock and frustration. He argued that such vital information should have been disclosed in advance, sparing them from the precipice of disaster. Soman, ever the voice of levity and resilience, offered a casual response to the tense situation. Despite their narrow escape, she maintained her good spirits. Nangun, the pragmatic leader of their expedition, swiftly intervened to refocus their attention. He revealed that amidst the aftermath of the explosion, a valuable prize lay glistening on the chamber floor. It was no ordinary find but a golden key, a key of great significance. Nangun imparted to his companions that this was the key to the boss room, a door that held untold challenges and revelations. With renewed determination, the group pressed onward, their senses heightened as they arrived before the colossal doors guarding a boss room. It was here that Nangun unveiled the truth about their impending challenge, the formidable adversary that awaited them, the Ghoul King. Outside the labyrinthine recesses of the dungeon, Myung found himself ensnared in the clutches of frustration. Stuck in the unyielding grip of traffic, he longed for progress, his impatience mounting with each passing moment. But the world outside had its own plans for him. Abruptly, a wave of terror began to ripple through the people surrounding him. Panic and fear were palpable, casting an eerie shroud over the scene. Myung, unable to remain passive, emerged from his vehicle, compelled to investigate the source of the chaos that gripped those around him. What he witnessed would shatter the boundaries of his comprehension. The time of dusk, an enigmatic and foreboding phenomenon, had descended upon their world. Deep within the confines of a foreboding dungeon, Nangun, the seasoned adventurer, gathered a group of youthful, determined companions. With a sense of trepidation hanging in the air, he unveiled the chilling reality that lurked behind a massive, ominous door. Behind it awaited not only the malevolent Ghoul King, but also 4 formidable elite zombies, guardians of the malevolent monarch. To vanquish the Ghoul King, they first had to confront these elite zombies, and the gravity of their task loomed ominously. Soman, the group's ardent mage, couldn't help but voice her concerns. But she doubted they would suffice to dispatch these formidable foes. In response to her uncertainty, Jian, the group's ever-confident archer, he proposed that through coordinated teamwork and sheer determination, they could systematically dismantle the zombies, one by one. However, the experienced Nangun interjected with a disheartening truth. Even if they succeeded in defeating the elite zombies individually, the Ghoul King possessed an unholy power of resurrection, capable of reviving the fallen zombies endlessly. Thus their victories would be short-lived, and their efforts ultimately futile. Soman, ever resourceful, inquired about a mysterious item that Nangun had acquired from a demon, a potential key to their predicament. Nangun revealed the existence of Paladin Ral's pendant, a powerful artifact designed to slow down the reanimation of the zombies. All this revelation brought a glimmer of hope. Their true challenge lay in preventing all 4 elite zombies from returning simultaneously. This proved to be a daunting task, leaving their path to victory shrouded in uncertainty. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, the relentless chaos of battle unfolded. Valiant soldiers confronted menacing foes on the front lines, their leader, in a desperate plea for assistance, engaged in a tense conversation over the phone. He implored for urgent air support to quell the relentless goblin threat. However, the voice on the other end of the line issued a disconcerting question. Were there any survivors in the vicinity? The soldiers reported that they had already conducted thorough scans with heat detectors, revealing no civilians at the summoning point. Urgency gripped the leader as he stressed the necessity of immediate action. But the voice on the phone sounded a cautionary note. Even in the absence of survivors, they cautioned that the media might find something to exploit, placing blame on the military for the city's destruction. They urged the leader to be mindful of public opinion, as if the lives of their soldiers were expendable in the face of reputation. Enraged, the leader flung the phone aside, questioning the callousness of their superiors. Amid this turmoil, a new development emerged. Soldiers on the scene alerted their captain to an approaching vehicle. The captain, perplexed by the audacity of anyone venturing into the midst of such chaos, ordered his subordinates to halt the vehicle. Little did he know that the driver was none other than Mian, who, with a wild look in his eyes, plowed through goblins, a one-man force of chaos and determination. Back within the dungeon, the formidable boss room unveiled itself before their eyes, revealing the menacing quartet of elite zombies and the imposing ghoul king. Nangang, his voice resolute, instructed the young heroes to prepare for the ensuing confrontation. His loyal spirit soldiers charged headlong toward the zombies. Igniting the battle, Summon, with her mystical prowess, confronted one of the zombies, engaging it in a deadly dance of power. Jian, displaying unparalleled agility, deftly evaded a zombie's attack, his arrows finding their mark. As one arrow struck true, embedding itself in a zombie's head, it crumpled to the ground. In the ensuing chaos, the spirit soldiers joined the fray, making short work of another zombie. The scene shifted as Nandang seized the moment to wield Paladin Ral's pendant, dispatching the first of the elite zombies. However, their attention now focused on the remaining three. An eerie silence hung in the air, as the Ghoul King remained curiously uninvolved. Suddenly, the Ghoul King's voice resonated through the chamber, a cryptic utterance that left John baffled. Soman, with an uncanny understanding, repeated the king's ominous directive. Come back to life. Namgang is astonished to see that Soman can understand what Ghoul King is saying, leading him to speculate that it might be due to the influence of Soman's mother, Swa, whose spirit might have intervened in her awakening. This newfound, non-elemental magical power defied explanation. Yet it was the best theory they had, as Namgang had never witnessed something like this in his past life. With Sophie acting as the intermediary, she relayed the Ghoul King's unsettling words to the group. In an instant, all the zombies were resurrected, and chaos erupted. One of the reanimated zombies launched a ferocious assault on Namgang, who narrowly evaded its deadly grasp. A sense of futility washed over him. Paladin Ral's pendant alone would not suffice to break this cycle of rebirth. In a desperate gambit, Namgang produced a mirror, an unprecedented act that reflected the gravity of the situation. He implored Summon, his voice tinged with urgency, to channel her magic into the shattered pendant, a desperate plan to wipe out all the zombies in a single devastating blow. The fate of their group hinged on this pivotal moment. But before Salmon could execute her magic, a zombie strike landed on Namgang, shattering the pendant. The remaining zombies, now unchecked, overwhelmed the spirit soldiers. The Ghoul King spoke once more, instilling fear in Soman, who lamented that this was the end. However, Namgang, undeterred by the chaos, held the broken pendant with a sinister resolve. His proclamation resonated with unwavering determination. This is just the beginning. Within the confines of the oppressive dungeon, the group's resolve was put to the test as the relentless onslaught of the elite zombies pressed on. Namgang, their fearless leader, found himself cornered, a broken pendant in his hand and a sense of impending doom hanging over him. With the shattered pendant as his only weapon, he flung the broken glass shards at the approaching undead. Frantically, he cried out to his daughter, Soman, urging her to unleash her formidable magic upon their foes. Soman, seizing the moment, channeled her magical energies into a devastating spell that struck true, hitting the zombies in the head. The magical onslaught was swift and deadly, dispatching all the remaining zombies in one fell swoop. The Ghoul King, the mastermind behind this gruesome encounter, watched in shock as his guardians crumbled, their power shattered. With the path now clear, Namgang strode purposefully towards the Ghoul King. But the battle was far from over. Suddenly, one last zombie, seemingly risen from the depths of despair, lunged at Namgang, aiming to disrupt his advance. Swiftly, he commanded one of his spirit soldiers to intercept the attack, a move that took the Ghoul King by surprise. The other spirit soldier, now free to act, turned its attention to the Ghoul King himself. In a display of indomitable force, the spirit soldiers brought the Ghoul King to his knees, his malevolent reign crumbling. As Namgang closed the distance to confront the vanquished Ghoul King, a startling turn of events unfolded. the Ghoul King, determined to exact one last act of malevolence, unleashed a barrage of sharp, thick bones that pierced Nandung's chest. Salman, stricken with horror, watched helplessly as her father endured the grievous wound. Outside the dungeon, the soldiers continued their relentless battle against the encroaching goblin horde. Amidst the chaos, one astute soldier recognized a figure amidst the turmoil: Myung. Myung's presence raised both questions and hope, as he was known to be a force to be reckoned with. The soldier inquired about Myung's unexpected arrival, and Myung responded with an air of enigmatic confidence, stating that he appeared when the world was in dire need of a hero. He also hinted at the impending arrival of a significant figure, a man named Captain Nangun, to whom their hopes were pinned. As the soldier made the connection, he asked whether Myung was indeed speaking of Captain Nangun. Myung confirmed this, setting the stage for a formidable confrontation. With no spare weapons at his disposal, Myung unveiled his own remarkable weapon, a blade that seemed to materialize out of thin air. The soldier, astounded by the weapon's peculiar properties, found it difficult to believe that Myung intended to take on seemingly bulletproof monsters armed with a sword. Undeterred, Myung initiated a conversation about the Hellgate and the Yaksha, drawing attention to the wealth of information crammed into the soldiers' minds. He emphasized that conventional firearms were no longer the most potent weapons in the face of these supernatural threats, placing their faith in swords instead. Myung entrusted the soldier with an ogre tonfa, encouraging him to treat the weapon as a trusted ally. They both get ready to take on the goblins together. Back in the depths of the dungeon, Soman's worry for her injured father was palpable. However, John, their archer, with an air of newfound confidence, assured her that he could handle the dire situation. His transformation was nothing short of astonishing, his eyes turning a resolute shade of gold as he locked onto his target with a deadly intent. Jen chanted an incantation, an ethereal aura enveloping an arrow. With the precision of a master, he unleashed the arrow, piercing the Ghoul King's chest. The unexpected target left Namgung bewildered. He couldn't comprehend what had just transpired. Jun called upon Soman to restrain the Ghoul King's movements. Soman sensed the shift in Jun's behavior and followed his instructions, directing her magic to the Ghoul King's right shoulder. Nangun remained perplexed, struggling to understand Jun's strategic choices. He questioned why Jun had chosen to target the shoulder instead of the head, given his skill and the head's vulnerability. Jun calmly instructed Soman to fire her magic once more, but to avoid targeting the Ghoul King's head. Soman complied, but this time the Ghoul King exhibited a newfound resilience, deflecting her magical assault. Soman's shock was palpable as her confidence wavered. The Ghoul King, seizing the opportunity, charged menacingly toward her. In the nick of time, Jun unleashed another arrow, this one radiating with a brilliant aura. It pierced the Ghoul King's chest once again, sealing his fate. The Ghoul King's body disintegrated, dissolving into the floor as victory was secured. Nangun was astounded, unable to fathom how Jun had dispatched the formidable foe with ordinary arrows without the need for the pendant's power. Nangun, intrigued, queried Jun about his remarkable feat. Jun revealed a unique insight. Certain parts of a monster's body contained runes. By sequentially targeting these glowing runes, Jun could eliminate the monster's defenses and secure their downfall. However, not every rune exhibited this distinctive radiance. Jun referred to this precise tactic as an opening. It guaranteed a 100% rune drop when the rune shone, making it a highly effective strategy. Nandung's mind whirred with possibilities, contemplating the significance of this newfound knowledge. In the midst of this revelation, Soman, concerned for her father's well-being, inquired about his condition. Nangam's mind was set on a different path, considering the potential of amassing runes and combining his skills with the rune master, John Teiko. With such a formidable companion by his side, he harbored the hope of unlocking a wealth of possibilities and achieving new heights of power. As if to answer his hopes, a treasure chest materialized before them. Soman's eyes sparkled with anticipation, hoping that this time the contents would prove to be the ultimate reward they had sought. With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, they opened the treasure chest, triggering a notification that proclaimed the reward batch chest had been granted. This development sent a shiver of anticipation down Nangung's spine, a whisper of destiny in the air. This was no ordinary chest, it held the adventurer's journey took an unexpected turn as a notification emerged. It boldly declared that they had obtained the coveted Ghoul King's silver, an impressive sum of 1,500 heads. These heads could be bartered through the enigmatic proxy clan, or even traded among the select few who had been fortunate enough to receive this unique reward. But there was more to their fortunes than just the silver. The adventurers had also reaped a bountiful harvest of 15,000 heads and the elusive ghoul king's gold. Summoned, one of the adventurers couldn't help but feel an exhilarating rush of excitement as she beheld the magnitude of their newfound rewards. Amidst the jubilation, John, another member of the party, found himself contemplating an enigmatic artifact. A peculiar glove, imbued with an eerie green aura, had found its way into his possession. It was revealed to be the Ghoul King Aura Gloves, an item with a singular attribute, the enhancement of concentration. However, an unfortunate side effect accompanied this newfound power, a wretched stench that could only be described as revolting. To soothe John's apprehensions, Namgung, the experienced sage of their group, offered his wisdom. He explained that concentration was not limited to improving one's accuracy in combat. It held immense utility in crafting magical items and harnessing the arcane arts. As for the noxious odor, Namgung assured John that it would gradually dissipate, sparing him from long-term olfactory misery. Yet curiosity got the better of John, and he couldn't resist the urge to take a whiff of the offensive glove. The outcome was less than desirable, as the stench overwhelmed him, causing him to retch uncontrollably. Namgung offered little consolation, informing John that the smell would plague him for an excruciating 3-year duration. With the matter of the Ghoul King's silver and gold settled, their journey ventured further into the unknown. Namgung unveiled the centerpiece of their quest, a tantalizing promise beckoning in the distance. It took the form of the Ghoul King's old keys, enigmatic artifacts believed to unlock the fabled treasure chamber. Evidently, there was a key for each of the adventurers, further heightening their intrigue. Some, brimming with curiosity, sought to decipher the significance of a mysterious map. Namgung, the resident sage, enlightened her. The map, when utilized in conjunction with a specific scroll, had the mystical power to conjure forth a dungeon within the treasure chamber. A peculiar feature of this dungeon was that it would separate the adventurers, and Namgung cautioned them against any surprise at finding themselves alone in this eerie labyrinth. As if to seal their fate, he entrusted them with the keys to the Ghoul King's treasure chamber. The adventurers now faced a momentous decision, for they had to choose one of the doors that lay before them. Namgung underscored a crucial caveat. Once a door was crossed, there would be no return. The gravity of this decision weighed heavily on Soman as she pondered her options. John, on the other hand, sought counsel from Namgung, inquisitive about the optimal choice. In response, Namgung admitted his limitations. He had not traversed this path in his prior existence, and thus could not offer definitive guidance. The only nugget of wisdom he could impart was the knowledge that the previous conqueror had secured the crown of Kundal, a relic designed for necromancers and of limited use to their party. For John, it was a moment of reflection, realizing that despite Namung's claim to a second life, vast mysteries still shrouded his existence. With a sense of urgency, Namgung prodded them forward, reminding them that Myung, their waiting comrade, was likely growing impatient. As they advanced further into the unknown, their journey took them to a colossal gate, dwarfing even Jor's East Gate. Their expectations aligned with reality as they discovered the enigmatic doors before them, each adorned solely with a name and bereft of any explanatory details. Amidst the anticipation and ambiguity, Namgung recognized an item from his past life, Murun's thorn blade. It was a pair of twin daggers that had once belonged to the Japanese demon hunter Sinomiya. Namgung's wisdom led him to conclude that it held little significance in the present, and he opted to leave it behind. Continuing down the corridor of doors, Namgung stumbled upon a revelation that filled him with elation. This discovery had been the subject of whispers and rumors, but now it lay before him. The Balancer's Book. Namgung opens the door and goes inside the room and sees the book. With a purple aura enveloping it, the book held the allure of a top-tier magical artifact. It was a treasure beckoning him to unveil its secrets. Meanwhile, John and Soman, seated together, watched as Namgung emerged from the portal, carrying with him the weight of their decisions. They eagerly shared the fruits of their choices, but it was evident that the information at their disposal was as mysterious as the choices they had made. Soman proudly displayed her bracelet of the lake fairy, an exquisite accessory that could bestow healing effects upon her as she slumbered. It also possessed the unique ability to enhance her magical prowess, a choice that Namgung deemed wise. Jenan, on the other hand, presented a sword as his chosen item. Namgung couldn't help but express his disappointment, for it appeared that the option of a bow had not been available. Jun's reasoning was simple. He had chosen the sword because it sounded cool to him. This explanation did not sit well with Namgung, who had hoped for a more strategic selection. Beyond the confines of their immediate surroundings, outside the dungeon, the brave soldier and their stalwart comrade, Myung, found themselves locked in fierce combat against the relentless hordes of goblins. The soldier commended the effectiveness of the weapon Myung had bequeathed to him, recognizing its remarkable prowess in battle. However, as the battle raged on, it became apparent that even with their combined strength, the goblins seemed endless. Weariness began to gnaw at their stamina, and Myung, in a moment of jest, inquired about the whereabouts of their platoon's Tamina king. The soldier's response was not one of humor, but rather a challenge to Myung's resilience. Their situation grew even graver as a horde of goblins bore down upon them, threatening to overwhelm the small group. Desperation set in as the other soldiers, pushed to their limits, pleaded with their squad leader to consider a retreat. Yet Myung remained resolute, urging them not to surrender, and to fight on until at least one more goblin had fallen. Then, in a fateful moment, a goblin hurled a deadly dagger in their direction. Myung, quick to react, positioned himself in front of his comrades, taking the full force of the attack. As the blade found its mark and Myung collapsed to the ground, an ominous realization dawned. The goblin's weapon was poisoned. The soldier, aware of the dire situation, urged Myung to retreat immediately for the much-needed treatment of his grievous wound. Myung, despite his agonizing condition, summoned the last vestiges of his strength and, in a stirring declaration, instructed the soldier to continue the battle. He was no longer just a soldier but Kang Hojin, and his comrades would bear witness to his transformation. In response to Myung's call, the soldier, known as the ogre Kang Hojin, embraced his inner beast and surged forward, determined to confront the goblins with an indomitable spirit, ready to face the relentless goblin horde with every ounce of his strength. In a world gripped by intrigue and looming prophecies, a man stood before a camera, ready to share an extraordinary tale with the world. The news reporter leaned forward. This man, an eyewitness to a recent unimaginable event, began recounting the astounding display of valor he had witnessed. He described how two figures, Myung and Hojin, had valiantly taken down wave after wave of goblins in a frenetic battle. It was a spectacle that left no room for doubt. Their prowess was awe-inspiring. What truly stoked the fires of intrigue were the reporters themselves. They couldn't help but draw parallels to the words of a British actor who, in press conference, had hinted at the arrival of prophets, saviors destined to rescue the earth from its impending doom. Were Myung and Hojin the prophesied messiahs? Yet the man who had witnessed the tumultuous battle had a different perspective. He offered a nuanced interpretation that defied the grandiose label of prophets. To him, these figures weren't emissaries of hope. They appeared more like harbingers of destruction. The scene unfolded once more, where goblins, taken aback by the emergence of Hojin, aptly nicknamed the ogre, found themselves in a state of shock. But as the saying goes, there's always a bigger fish. A colossal goblin warrior stepped in, its towering form dwarfing those who had come before. It shielded a smaller goblin, compelling it to withdraw from the impending confrontation. Myung, ever astute and quick to assess, noted that while this goblin warrior was smaller than the one he had faced earlier, the prospect of Hojin confronting it alone remained daunting. It was a testament to the immense challenge that lay before them. A brilliant idea sparked in Myung's mind as he scanned the scene, his gaze settling on a nearby vehicle. As the goblin warrior launched its assault upon Hojin, a battle of titanic proportions unfolded. Hojin deftly blocked the initial attack, countering with a powerful punch that struck the goblin squarely in the abdomen. The goblin, taken aback by the strength of this human adversary, couldn't comprehend the force behind the blow. Hojin, often referred to as the ogre, had unlocked a unique state that defied ordinary human capabilities. In this state, Hojin had mastered the art of controlling his breath, deliberately reducing the blood flow to his brain. This strategic compromise, which may sound perilous, allowed Hojin to redirect that blood into his muscles, granting him superhuman strength and enhancing the regeneration of his muscle fibers. The goblin warrior, bewildered by this extraordinary feat of strength, found itself on its knees after Hojin's mighty strike. Sensing the imminent danger, another goblin leaped in, attempting to stab Hojin, but the attack had little effect, and the goblin met a swift and merciless demise. However, the goblin warrior, not one to be easily vanquished, unleashed a furious punch upon Hojin, sending him sprawling to the ground. In a lightning-quick maneuver, the goblin leaped onto Hojin's abdomen. As the fatal flaw of the ogre state is that because of the ogre state is restricting the blood flow to the brain, which means it cannot be maintained for a long period of time, and usually humans die within a few tens of seconds with blocked brain blood flow. But because the ogre state doesn't completely block the blood flow to the brain, so it can last for a little over 5 minutes. But nevertheless, Hojin doesn't have much time left as the remaining time is only 1 minute. Then Myung with the car comes straight to the goblin warrior and hits it. As Myung comes out the car and checks if Hojin is okay. Then Myung is surprised to see that goblin is alright and is coming towards them. Then we see that goblin is crying. Seeing goblins tear, Hojin gets mad as these goblins have killed a lot of soldiers and civilians, and Hojin doesn't get why the goblin is angry. And now Hojin get more angry and goes into rage mode, but the remaining time left in ogre state is only 6 seconds. And both the goblin and Hojin charges towards each other and punches their best punch to each other, and the goblin is taken down and Hojin is on the edge as well. Myung is completely drained too, and Hojin tells Myung that he can't get up either. They both thinks that this is how they are going to die, seeing all the other left goblins closing in on them. Myung in a cool way tells Hojin that as people say heroes die young, and thinks this wasn't a bad life. Then suddenly he hears something and sees that all the goblins around him gets freezed in ice. And it's none other than Nangung, and he tells him good job hanging in there. Hojin is surprised to see Nangung, and Nangung tells him to leave everything to him and take some rest. In the wake of their relentless battle, Nangung's incredible power shone brilliantly. With a mere gesture, he froze the remaining goblins in intricate ice formations, suspending them in a state of suspended animation. Beside him, Soman and John showcased their remarkable combat prowess, vanquishing several goblins with well-practiced ease. The trio now stood united, their collective strength undeniable. But as the last goblin succumbed to the inevitable, he remarked that the ordeal they had just faced seemed like child's play compared to their previous encounter with the Ghoul King. In the midst of the action, Nyang's curiosity got the best of him, and he turned to Nangung with an inquisitive expression. He wanted to know how Nangung had arrived at the scene without a vehicle, considering that the Shinshin station, a likely transit point, should have been teeming with goblins. Nangung, with his characteristic calm, unveiled the answer. They had indeed passed through the Shinshin station, or rather than succumbing to the goblin horde, they had taken the fight to the enemy, eliminating every last one of them along the way. Myung couldn't hide his admiration for Nangung's resourcefulness and courage. Jian, ever keen to discern their next course of action, posed an important question. With their newfound strength and a plan to rescue his father, he was ready to execute the next phase of their mission. His inquiry pertained to the elixir needed to heal his father, but it came with an intriguing twist. Jian recalled Nangung's mention of acquiring elixir with their dungeon rewards. However, he couldn't help but wonder how they would amass the required 400,000 heads for such a substantial purchase. Nangung's response offered a tantalizing glimpse into his foresight. He clarified that the heads for this purpose wouldn't come from the dungeon reward itself. Soman, her curiosity fully piqued, leaned in to ask Nangung about the reward he had procured within the dungeon. Nangung did not keep her in suspense and produced a remarkable item, the Book of Balansar. But it didn't end there. The real secret lay in the book's ability to summon additional items by using material as a catalyst. Soman contemplated the implications. Using a rare material would surely yield the most significant benefits, but she wondered if the choice to do so was worthwhile. Nangung, never one to leave questions unanswered, reached for the rare locket they had acquired in the dungeon. Nangung's actions triggered a series of events. The Book of Balansar activated, consuming the material and providing a notification about the item grade it would summon. The room seemed to come alive as the book radiated a brilliant light, transforming into the highest grade item, the Book of the Great Balansar. Nangung unveiled the book's unique capabilities. By offering a single material, they could procure a higher grade item of the same type. The range of potential items spanned from magic to epic, with the summoned item's grade always exceeding that of the material. The Book of the Great Balansar came with extraordinary power and potential. Nangung had a solution ready and presented Myung's sword, the highest grade item currently in their possession. The book transformed the sword into an epic grade weapon known as the Sword of Penitent Tanian. A notification provided insight into the sword's origin, revealing it to be a creation of the executioner Tanian, forged from the remnants of his own weapon as he sought redemption. The blade, having absorbed much blood, harbored unique properties. Blood could activate a special power within it, making it a formidable weapon indeed. Mian, now elated at the prospect of Nandung's ability to use necromancy, couldn't hide his enthusiasm. The newfound potential was a gift that would serve them well in the battles to come. He expressed his gratitude, recognizing the impact this change would have on their future endeavors. Mian was eager to identify his next weapon of choice, given the transformation of his previous sword. Nandung didn't disappoint, handing him the sword that had demonstrated the power to freeze the goblins. Mian was intrigued and eager to wield it, yet Nandung offered a crucial piece of advice. Nandung emphasized that John had selected the sword with great care, and it was not a random choice. It was a reflection of his understanding of swordsmanship. Mian accepted this guidance, recognizing the importance of wielding the sword with respect for its true potential. With the pressing matter of their head's requirement for the elixir in mind, John raised a valid concern. Nandung's response was nothing short of astonishing. He revealed that he had already secured the necessary 400,000 heads by eliminating every goblin in Sinchen Station. For his efforts, he had earned the title of Goblin Ruler, granting him access to the Goblin Vault and a haul of 550,000 heads. John couldn't help but be impressed by Nandung's resourcefulness and the sheer scale of his accomplishments, and they now had the means to secure the elixir for John's father. Nandung, now in control of the situation, outlined his plan for the immediate future. He instructed Myung and Hojin to attend the impending press conference, a move that left them both perplexed. Myung and Hojin's fatigue was undeniable, and dealing with the media might seem like an unexpected task given the circumstances. Nandung clarified that this strategic maneuver would serve to protect his identity and keep the other prophets unaware of his true role. With reassurances from Myung and Hojin that they could handle the media scrutiny, Nandung's plan was set in motion. Their growing popularity was a testament to his foresight, as the world's eyes increasingly turned to these enigmatic satyrs. As the group prepared to part ways, they exchanged farewells, knowing that the path forward held both challenges and opportunities. Their journey took them to a nearby hospital, where a chilling discovery awaited them. The presence of a few goblins, even with the deployment of police and military forces, shouldn't have thrown a hospital into such disarray. Jian, pressed by concern, informed Nandung that his father was in the intensive care unit, adding urgency to their quest. Jian led the way, anxiety etched on his face as he navigated the labyrinthine corridors, searching for his father's location. But as they advanced further down the corridor, a cry for help reached Nandung's ears. His instincts guided him to the source of the distress, while the children continued down the hall. There Nandung discovered a woman on the ground, her face etched with fear and exhaustion. Quickly he offered his assistance. The woman described the horrors that had unfolded in the hospital, where a group of suspicious individuals had wreaked havoc and devastation. They had murdered countless innocents and harvested their heads, leaving a trail of death in their wake. Yet to Nandung's surprise and horror, the culprits were not goblins, but humans. As Nandung pieced together the woman's story, as she asked Nandung to help her in getting up, Nandung picks her hand and helps her get up quickly. Then the scene shifts to the kids where someone heard some noise behind her and wonders what is going on, and John tells her he didn't hear anything and tells her to keep running. Someone sees that her dad has also disappeared and wonders where did her father go to. John tells her that it's her father's second life, had recalled something significant and departed urgently. In light of the circumstances, searching for him would have to wait. Resigned to this reality, someone agreed to accompany John to check on his father's condition, recognizing that their current situation required their immediate attention. The narrative shifted once more to Nandung, who found himself face to face with a female assailant, her sinister intentions laid bare. Her weapon, a ring harboring a shaken's needle, was poised for a deadly strike. With a calculated move, Nandung sidestepped her attack, narrowly escaping the fate she had planned. The woman, seemingly undeterred, inquired about Nandung's keen instincts and how he had managed to elude the poison's effects, which had incapacitated most of the hospital's occupants. Nandung attributed his survival to the runes of legerdity he had acquired from a dungeon, a precious boon that had granted him extraordinary agility. The woman, her face twisted by malice, acknowledged the newfound emergence of runes and the riches they could bestow. She couldn't hide her sinister glee at the prospect of claiming Nandung's rewards. Yet beneath his veneer of calm, Nandung remained steadfast. With unwavering determination, he reminded her that his heart belonged to another, his beloved wife, making it clear that her advances would go unanswered. With frustration and contempt in her eyes, the woman revealed her true colors. She was not content to simply take his rewards. She intended to take his life. A malevolent smile curved her lips as she advanced, confident in her abilities. Nandung, unyielding and resolute,